All right, we are ready for Sandra Richardson. She is a dual American-Australian citizen, and she has combined her communication and education degrees from CU Boulder with her passion for adventure and travel, creative exploration. In 2021, she published her first magical realism novel, which is Splinters, a Modern Mythic Journey. Currently, while she pens Splinters 2, In Search of the Ancestor Giants, she devotes her days to duties as the founder-director of the Nomad Foundation Museum, open by appointment, presenting her collection of art, antiques, and textiles. She has a master in 50 years of world travels. Today, she's going to talk about Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements, and then we'll have a discussion about that. Take it away, Sandra.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Is the sound okay? Yes. Sound okay on Zoom?
If you want to see them, they are there.
There you are. Hi, everybody. I'm up very, very, very high. So I'm feeling a little altitude sickness. Today, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to hold my notes up a bit because A, I need new glasses, and B, I'm way far away from the table where they usually are. Sorry about that. But I've got a nice shiny cover for them just to entertain you. I love sparkles. Today I'm talking about the four agreements. And the idea is to help you discover how ancient Toltec wisdom can transform your inner life to manifest more freedom, happiness, peace, and love. You know, everything we do in life is based on agreements. Agreements that we make with others, agreements we make with society, with God, or a divine presence. But most importantly are the agreements, the inner agreements you make with yourself. And sometimes that deserves a little more attention than we perhaps give it, because these agreements with ourselves tell us, direct us, who we are and how to behave. They're like inner rules. And they start with thoughts which become beliefs about what we can or cannot do. Now, there are two different kinds of agreements at least. There are the agreements based on fear, which are limiting, and the agreements based on love, which free us. So back in 1997, I first came across Don Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements. And this is a little bitty condensed version of a bigger book that, this is actually a companion to the card set where you can choose a reminder card every day, and I'll get to that in a bit. But I just wanted, how many of you are familiar with Don Miguel Ruiz and The Four Agreements? Okay, I think I can stop now. I am obviously preaching to the choir.
Reminders are good.
Oh, he's got the same thing. You know, reminders are good because I know sometimes my focus can be way more outer directed than inner, and I can get my knickers in a knot by things that people say. That's an Australian expression, by the way. That's not good. It's uncomfortable. So when I first read these, I thought they were great and interesting and blah, blah, blah. But I think I was a bit young to fully appreciate the incredible wisdom and how helpful it can be, and how relevant it is these days for your self-protection and sanity in a world that seems to be getting meaner and certainly more contentious, seemingly. So anyway, that's a choice, I suppose. So I'll just tell you a little bit about Don Miguel Ruiz for the few of you who aren't familiar. He was born in rural Mexico, and his mother was a curandera, who's a healer, and his father was a shaman or a nagal. After a near-death experience that he had, he left medical school and devoted his life to studying the old ways, the ancient ancestral wisdom that his mother and his mother taught him, passed on the Toltec ways, and he also was a shaman apprentice for many years. For decades now, he has been sharing this ancient Toltec wisdom with the world. And it's a long tradition. Thousands of years ago, when they were on the planet, the Toltecs were known as women and men of knowledge. And many, many masters from all over gathered at their impressive pyramid village, Teotihuacan, which is just outside Mexico City. And if you haven't been, I would highly recommend going for a visit. It's awesome. But their teachings, in a nutshell, share the same essential unity of truth as many other sacred esoteric traditions. They honor all spiritual masters. They embrace spirit, not as a religion, but as a way of life to access happiness and love. So, Ruiz has provided me with this little condensed version of their teachings in a simple, but not easy, format, which is kind of crystallized in 4 agreements. Not 10 commandments, not 12 steps, just 4 agreements. So I'd just like to remind you what these 4 agreements are. Number 1 is be impeccable with your word. Number 2, don't take anything personally. I struggle with that one. Don't make assumptions. Uh-oh. And always do your best. So, does that sound pretty easy? Yeah, well, they're simple. There's only 4 of them, but they're surprisingly challenging and surprisingly complex when you really delve into it, which I'm going to do a little bit. But for this talk, I'm going to only speak about the first 2 agreements, and then when I come back, I'll speak about 3 and 4, because it really is more complex than you might think. Well, in my mind, anyway. So the first agreement, be impeccable with your word. What this means is using your words in the direction of truth and love for yourself and for others. So that means the thoughts you think and say to yourself, you gotta really be mindful. Because the Toltecs believe the word is a force, that it's your power to communicate, to think, and to manifest. And we say that here in Unity when we sing our thoughts or prayers. You know, everything you're thinking actually in some form becomes a prayer. The Toltecs also believe the word is pure magic, that it can cast a spell for either beauty or destruction. Now, I'm not Toltec, obviously, but my Celtic ancestors shared this honor for the power of the word. And they held the word in high esteem, and it was preciously guarded and only delivered through their Druid priests were the ones who were the keepers of the word, because they also knew the power that it has. Words are incredibly powerful. Your words and opinions can actually plant what you might call a belief seed in yourself and in others. And these seeds sprout differently. Angry words send out emotional poison, and usually they reap the same back. Have you noticed a fight's usually a two-way street? Loving words, on the other hand, will sow harmony and peace, and usually are reciprocated. So I wanted, before I move on to agreement 2, I want to just take a moment to let you think about this first question I'd like to cover when we have a discussion later. Can you think of a time when someone's word impacted your thoughts and your life? Can you think of a time when a word became a belief that either generated your happiness or your sorrow? So just while you think about that, what I love about this little book is it comes with a companion deck of cards. And these are still available, by the way. They're easily available online. So you can just open this up and pick a card every day, just as a reminder. So for instance, the first card, when I open this, is be impeccable with your word. Ha ha ha. And they have beautiful, you probably can't see that. They have beautiful paintings, illustrations. And it says, be impeccable with your words, speak with integrity. And then on the back, it elaborates a little bit. It says, say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. So there's also a side note in the book that says gossip is like a computer virus that spreads poison everywhere. Just kind of interesting to think about, because gossip can come fairly easily to some of us. Okay, think about that thought about words that have impacted your life, and we'll get to that in the discussion. I want to just elaborate a little bit on agreement number 2. Don't take anything personally. Does anybody but me have a problem with this? Yay, one person does. On Zoom, anybody have a problem not taking things personally? No? Okay, must be.
I'm perfect on that.
My tragic flaw. Well.
You ever crossed my mind?
Well, it's interesting to me because when I was rereading the book, I kind of got a surprise when the first sentence was, taking things personally is the maximum expression of selfishness. I thought, whoa, okay. What it means is we think that we are responsible for everything, or I think I'm responsible for everything. So it's all about me, always me, always my fault. And according to the Toltecs, the truth is that nothing other people do or say is because of you. It is because of themselves. Well, there you go. That's interesting. Taking things personally, they go on to say, makes you prey for emotional predators. Thank you. Yes, interesting phrase, emotional predators. What you do by taking on whatever they're saying personally, it means that you are actually eating up their emotional garbage.
Yeah.
And if you don't take it personally, you don't bite, and you're immune to this emotional poison. Doesn't that sound simple? The truth is that judgment in yourself or in others is all about the others or your standards and expectations. And it has nothing to do with anyone else, you or anyone else. When it's coming at you, it has to do with others, standards, and expectations, and values and beliefs and all sorts of things. But it doesn't have anything to do with your own. So I'm just going to let you think a little bit about that for the discussion coming up shortly. Can you remember a time when someone attacked you, made you feel bad, confused, guilty, and kind of wonder why? Just think about that. Maybe that's never happened to you. It's happened to me more than once. Or do you sometimes afterwards find yourself replaying conversations and things that people said to you, criticisms or suggestions or orders or whatever? And you're replaying these negative comments into your own mind, and maybe even they're becoming a belief. So, I'd just like to read, while you're thinking about that, there's a little expansion on that idea in this teeny little book full of little gems. So what he says in here is when you take things personally, you feel offended, and your reaction is usually to defend your beliefs, and this ultimately creates conflicts. You make something big out of something little because you have the need to be right and make everybody else wrong. My mom once said to me, "You'd rather be right than be president." Apparently that was truer than anyway. The book goes on to say you try hard to be right by giving them your own opinions back. And what you say, what you do, and the opinions you have are according to the agreements you have made. And these opinions have nothing to do with the people around you. Your point of view is something personal to you. It's no one else's truth but yours.